welcome to Second Saturday. I'm your host, Professor Alfonso Severos. Joining me today at the table is a documentarian, photographer, children, and community activist, Mr. Stephen Edwards. Stephen, welcome to the show.
What's going on, brother?
Good. It's good to have you here.
It's good to be had, man.
I've been an admirer of your work. Tell us a little bit about this current project in which you're working on.
All right, the project I'm working on right now is called Natural or Nah. It's based around, just conversations about women transitioning from weave, wigs, and extensions to natural hair, or vice versa. It just seems to be a big topic right now.
What motivated you to explore this topic?
I did a shoot for a commercial for Minnie's World about a year ago, about 2 years ago, and the idea was to be like a news broadcast, a news, breaking news, and there's a reporter on the scene, all this crazy, amazing stuff is going on. So I used my little cousin. And she, so I was gonna dress up like a news reporter, wearing got little glasses, a little blonde wig, or whatever. And when she we was in the beauty supply store. And when she put the wig on, she started swinging her hair back and forth, and she was enjoying it. And it didn't sit right with me. You get what I mean? And then and just and it stood with me for a while. And I was just like, I just didn't like that. You get what I mean? And then I started paying more attention to women in their hair and things, and you can see there's a big transitioning happening, and I understand reasons for it, not everybody does, but it's a lot deeper than just an appearance thing.
Yeah, I agree. You interviewed, before we get into that lot deeper stuff, you interviewed about how many different young women? Now were all of them Black, or the Black, Latino, white? What was the mixture?
I have over 180 interviews. The majority of them are females. I have maybe 3 Spanish people out of the whole 180, which is a little crazy. I think I have 1 white person, or European, or Caucasian, or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
I have like 4 gentlemen, or whatever that I interviewed. But it was just I find it ironic that everybody who, I don't want to get into the details of the film, but everybody that I interviewed, whether they had natural hair or not, they still they spoke highly of it, like like it was a politically correct thing to do. You get what I mean? So so I don't understand. You got to look. What's the motive for that? But it's just a lot of things are topical issues. But I like to dove a little deeper than that.
Did you go into this with a certain idea or viewpoint, and then during the process of putting together this documentary, did it change or alter?
Yeah, it kind of did. Initially, it was just going to be like a kind of like a beauty campaign about just promoting like a historical African beauty. That was the original concept that I had, and then I started having conversations with women about, why they're wearing weaves instead of wearing this, that, and third, and I just found it interesting. Like the same argument was used on both sides. Well, I wear weave because it's easier, or I wear natural hair because it's easier. I said, one of y'all got to be wrong, So and then you start asking questions, and I've learned a lot. Man, listen, this is a billion-dollar industry.
Absolutely.
That a lot of people are profiting off of, except for the people who actually use the product.
There is some connection to self-confidence, image, notions of beauty.
And who shaped those notions?
Yeah. You think it's also true for men and their hairstyle? Or is it more just a style? Is it something deeper with women as opposed to men? I think
for men, for women too, it's mainly shaped around their appearances, shaped around what they do for employment. You mean like if you work at a corporate office, they don't necessarily say you can't have natural hair. They just frown upon it. They want you to have straight hair, neat, twisted in a bun, or down, or look Europeanish, if you will.
That is so surprising. It's not because I haven't thought of that, because I'm much older, And I remember in the 1960s, that was the exact case with the afro.
Yes.
People were wearing afros, but if you had to go to work, that was considered a militant haircut. So you, in the early 60s, you couldn't wear that. So it's interesting that you sort of have the same kind of viewpoint of it. Were people resistant to participate in this project, or, you know, you want to talk about my hair? Great. How did they respond in general?
Both. It went both ways. You know, a lot of females. You know, was like, you know, you stick a lot of people. Period. You stick a camera in their face. You know, and they light up. You know, then you have, you know, introverts when I don't want to do this. I don't want to say this. I don't want people to know how I think, which is really deep. You know, I've heard that a lot. But it just everybody seems to have a unique journey with their hair, but it parallels everybody else. You get what I mean? Like, oh, I was this way. The most common thing is most women of African descent that live here in America had their hair permed or processed around the age between 5 and 9 years old. You get what I mean? And what that shows or what that tells them is that how you are naturally isn't necessarily accepted. So you have to be this way.
Absolutely.
You know, in order to fit into what's considered mainstream.
And notions of beauty.
You get what I mean?
I got you. When you complete this documentary, people go to watch it. What do you want them to walk away with?
I want them to walk away with questions more so than any bias that I give them. You know what I mean? I don't want you to look at, oh, he looks at it this way. That's not what I want. What I want you to do is watch the film and say, you know what, well, how do I perceive myself? Or how do I perceive why do I wear my hair this way? Is it deeper than me just wanting to look like the girl on TV? And why do I want to look like the girl on TV? And why is this girl on TV? You get what I mean? And just to start to have those questions.
That's great. So you want it to be a tool in which people can examine and take a look at themselves and possibly their values to some extent. Great. And this is not your only piece of work.
No, I got a couple of films.
The piece you did before this, Stolen Lives.
Stolen Lives, the Nicholas Hayward story.
Now, I watched it. It's it's so different from this one. Yeah. Now tell me how that came about.
Okay, I actually knew Nicholas Hayward was a friend of mine. We grew up in the same development. We was both from Gowanus. And he got killed in my building. And we were, and the ironic thing about it is we were playing in the building earlier that day, and I left with a couple of other, of my friends. I think we went downtown to go look at, you know, talk to girls or something stupid like that. You know, and on the way back downtown, from downtown, I heard the shot, and I had to be maybe about a block and a half away. I heard the shot. How old were you
at the time?
I think I was maybe, I think I want to say 15, 16, somewhere in there, around 15, 16. Something like that. I don't remember exactly the age I was, but yeah, when I walked back to the building, you know, I seen them. Two things I saw. I saw them usher him out on a gurney, and he had no clothes on, but he has underwear on. And he was covering his privates, like, you know, he just got shot and all that. He was still didn't want nobody to see his penis. You get what I mean? Like that's what his focus was, you know. But the police officer, he seemed like he was either high off coke or caffeine. He seemed real fidgety, and his eyes were wide, and he was just looking around, rubbing his hands, looking around, like nervous, you know, or anxiety, or whatever you want to attribute it to. But the officers were ushering him out as well, you know, and I don't know where they took him, you know, because then I turned back to Nick, and I was like, yo, what happened? And it was like, you know, then they told me, you know, he was in the building, whatever, they shot him, you know, and then, you know, a couple of days later, he passed away.
And you describing this to us right now, I get a sense of a lot of passion, a lot of emotions about this issue, and it's so interesting. That's the same way I felt when I watched this documentary. I was saying to myself, he's shooting this in a very emotional way because it's coming across extremely strong. So that's my take on your piece of work. But this happened 15 years
22
ago?
years ago. 22 years ago.
Why now?
I had the opportunity to tell the story now. So I did. You know, prior to that, I didn't actually know what documentaries were. You know, I heard them. You know, this is a doc. That's all right, cool, whatever. You know, but then I had an opportunity to take a documentary class.
Right.
And I was like, you know, well, and they ask you on the questionnaire, whatever, you know, what story would you be telling? You know, so then I just think, well, what story would I tell? And you know, that was the first story that popped into my mind. So
That story stayed with you a very long time.
you know, like you know, I didn't realize it was a traumatizing experience until I get old enough to understand what trauma is, and then it's like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, but you know,
But you got it out there.
yeah, yeah.
How has it been received?
It's well, technically, it's still not released yet.
Right.
Like we still in the process of editing. I still have a lot of footage that I didn't go through. But for what I have so far, you know, it's good. I like it. You know, Nick Senior likes it. You know, the majority of the people that seen it, you know, say it's good. I actually won an award for it, and it's still not finished.
Wonderful. We have a trailer on this.
Yeah.
So let's take a look and watch the trailer.
My son Nicholas Jr. was a 13-year-old honor student when he was murdered September 27, 1994. That was 20 years ago. I've been out in the struggle in the streets for the last 20 years. Since Nicholas Jr. was murdered, there has been over 367 more have been murdered by NYPD in New York City alone. I'm just talking New York City.
Wow, that's powerful.
Thank you.
And it's done well.
Appreciate it.
It's done really well. You think getting this out, and I always like to know the end product of people's work. You know, why does an artist do something? Why does someone take a picture, make a film, do a documentary? What is it that you want? And I mean, you explained to me what you want to happen from the other one. You want people to question. What do you want to happen from this one?
I would say the same thing, but this is something that people already know. You know, this is something that has been happening for a long time, and the ironic thing about it is 22 years ago this happened. Wow. 2 years ago, the Akai Gurley situation happened, which parallels it almost exactly. The same testimony was given by the officer. You know, it happened in a split second. I feared for my life.
You took on some very relevant, important topics in the community. Is this your niche? Is this how you see yourself as a documentarian?
I don't look at it as a niche. It's like you do what you got to do. You get what I'm saying? Like, these are the stories that need to be told, and I have the ability to tell them. Why would I not?
Okay.
You get what I mean? Okay. There's so much other. There are people doing so many other things.
Exactly.
You know, that I have the opportunity. I should. You know, why not?
So if let's hypothetically make believe. Stephen, here's $1 million. Make any documentary or film that you want to. What would you do?
I would still finish the Nicholas Haywood doc. I would finish the Natural or Not doc. I would finish the I would redo the Black Business. I would actually expand on the Black Business documentary, and do what I'm doing. Like the money is not gonna make or break me.
But what would you do new? If I said this is to make a new one, which one would you do? Do you have an idea, a topic, or something you always wanted to put out there?
I do it as it comes to me. You get what I mean? Okay. I'm a very resourceful person. You get what I mean? If I need to do something, I will find a way. You know, money or the lack of it will not stop me.
Okay.
You know, so if I had the same $2 I have today, if I had $10 tomorrow, I'm gonna still finish this Natural and Art project, and then I'll work on the next one.
The background in photography, and you're a very good photographer.
Appreciate it.
I saw your work. It's extremely impressive. That background in photography, does it give you an edge in making the jump to film and documentaries?
I can't say yeah because I don't know because I have it, so I don't know what it is not to have it.
Okay.
You get what I mean? But
Perfect
what
answer.
Can't
argue with that.
What I can say is that it was an easy. I transitioned into film easy because of my still film or still images background. Taking pictures. I was taking pictures for a long time since I was a kid. My mother brought me a little camera with the I think it was a 110 Fuji camera or something like that. And I was taking pictures for a long time. You know, I just liked to take pictures. You know, so you know.
I hear what you're saying, and I like the fact that you said you didn't want to tell the same old stories, and I see a lot of young people who want to make films or documentaries, but it's the same old story. It's the repeat of the same old story. How many times can we tell the same story? You did another one on black businesses.
Black businesses.
And tell me about that and what motivated you to do that.
Okay, there was a competition. You know, it's called I forgot the name of the competition or whatever, but you know, they said, you know, you could submit a film, you can win a trip to Paris and all this fly stuff. So I was like, you know what, let me give it a shot. What story I want to tell, you know? And then at the time, you know, there was a lot of conversations about the lack of black businesses. You know, there's no business in we don't own nothing. And I was like, yo, we do, but the stuff that we own, we don't support. So when it closes, you know, then you don't have anything, but you have something now when you should patronize the businesses that are in your community that are owned by your people. You know, so then I did a documentary featuring a couple of people that I know who are, you know, quote unquote black, you know, small business owners, you know, that own businesses, you know, and their opinions on them, you know, and you know what to do, how to help, you know, that type of thing. It was short. The film, you know, it was relatively short, you know, about 4 minutes. But I got a lot of good content out of that.
The business owners that you interviewed for this, do they sort of have the same viewpoint of minimum or lack of support from the community, or it varies?
It varies. It varies. There are some people who are doing extremely well, but it depends on the nature of your business. You know, like they're like, for lack of a better expression, vanity businesses do well. Necessity businesses do well. It seems that we don't have like we spend a lot of our money, our time, our resources on things that appear to make us better, as opposed to things that actually do.
Makes us better.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like health, like a health food store.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily, you know, patronize the health food store, but the beauty shops are always packed. The nail salons are always packed. You get what I'm saying?
I know.
So
it's not a new story, it's an old story, unfortunately.
Shanice Star.
Some people call me Ill Flow, some people call me Ill Flicks.
My name is Lola.
My name is Dre.
Go about Q Butter, Brother Q.
My family calls me McCarthy.
Harlem.
Queens, New York.
Originally from here, Brooklyn. I was born in Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Brooklyn, born and raised.
Born and bred in Brooklyn, man, New York City.
I was raised in California. I lived in Spain, East Coast, West Coast, Europe, mostly California.
I run a art store in the middle of Brooklyn.
Combination of things. My main focus is tattooing and body piercing.
I am an entrepreneur, business owner.
Ill Flicks, it's a multimedia company.
I am a business owner on a multimedia company.
I teach alternative high school boys special needs.
We just started introducing my oldest son to it. I homeschool, so we just started introducing him to what money is, how it works.
Absolutely. I actually teach a course on Figure Your Finances. So absolutely. Children and adults.
Banking, ATM cards, opening up accounts, student versus regular account. I do it all the time. I have to.
now, is that part of the curriculum, or is that something that you do personally?
Something that I do personally.
No, I pretty much operate in the red. I'm here because I want to be really bad.
We don't. The money just goes out of our community, you know. When I think they said during Black Wall Street or different communities that was part of the Black Wall Street era, You know, the dollar went around maybe 15 times before it left our community. You know, now.
If we don't keep our black businesses thriving, and if we don't support them, they will close. And what comes immediately after that? The Hispanics come in, the Jews come in, the Arabs come in. Everybody comes in, and then they capitalize and they take all of that money out of the community and they send it back to their country.
If it's hot right at that moment, they're gonna jump on it and they'll do whatever it takes to spend that money. And these individuals, the big corporations, they have the finances to push a particular product and gear it towards African Americans and become billionaires. It's slavery in a different angle, you know, but we won't look at it like that because we're so caught up in what's in front of us. Then you want to get upset and protest. If you would have dissected it in the beginning, you wouldn't have had these long-term issues.
You ever play the game of Monopoly? You know, everybody starts at the same point, at the same time, with the same amount of money. The game is by the luck of the roll of the dice, you know? So if you might get 5, you might land on a good property. You get 3, land on a bad property. You know, then you have a choice to buy it or not, but everybody starts the game with the same amount of money, right? So now imagine if we were playing Monopoly and I told you that you couldn't know the rules, you couldn't roll the dice until I said so. And I didn't let you roll for 400 years. Think about all of the time that I had to go around, collect $200, to buy property, to build houses on the property, put condos on the property, buy all the railroad systems, the water systems. So now that you have an opportunity to play the game, I own all of the pieces on the board. There is no way that you can ever catch up.
I wish I had an answer. I mean, the only cure for it is love, first of all. We have to learn to love ourselves, our nappy hair, our big lips and big noses and whatever complexion your skin is, because they don't call it self-esteem for nothing.
That's interesting that you did that piece. I also saw that, and it was impressive. But that's not all. I mean, you're not only a documentarian and a photographer, but you're also involved with children in the community. And that's just equally as important and as equally, if maybe more impressive. Tell us about your work with Mini World. First of all, tell us, what is Mini World?
All right. Minnie's World is the ultimate children's party house. That's our slogan. You know, we do everything from birthday parties, baby showers. We do a whole bunch of stuff. But what we started focusing on was 2 things. We do a back-to-school event every year, and we give out book bags, school supplies, pens, pencils. To, I think the last time we did it was 500. We gave 550 sets of equipment out. You know, that was from everything from book bags to the pencils, the sharpeners, the erasers, the little folders that we gave, little packets or whatever.
You outdo many of these professional athletes. But go ahead.
Yeah, so we and that was the initial. We started doing that because I know what it's like to go to school and have to borrow a pencil. Can I borrow a piece of paper? Can I borrow? And that shit is the meaning to children. You know what I mean? So I just felt I can do this. Right. Let me do it. Right. And then we started. We wanted to do an after school program. But there was a whole lot of red tape and paperwork, and you gotta, So what we did was we created a summer program, which kind of like allowed us to operate, and do what we wanted to do. So we just took the opportunity to get as much cultural information and trips and stuff like that, and take the kids to the libraries and the museums and natural history museum, just to let them see things other than what they see every day.
Block. Now this is in East New York.
This is in Brownsville. Technically Brownsville, East New York, kind of,
I don't know the borderline
between
Brownsville.
It changes. Developers, they get,
I know. Yeah, it's like where I grew up. At one time, it was considered Bed-Stuy. Then it went to Williamsburg. Now it's back to Bed-Stuy. So who knows? Who knows? It seems like you have a lot of freedom to do what you want to do because you're not taking other people's money in the sense of government money.
Absolutely.
Is that's by
That is
design?
the absolute case, absolutely. Because we had an opportunity. We actually talked to. I got a couple of politicians that we deal with.
Sure.
And they was like, you should incorporate. You should make it a 501c3, and da. And I was like, well, if I did that, I would have to operate within your guidelines.
Yeah.
And then I have to go to you for permission. I have to go to you. I don't want to do that. I want to do what I want to do what I need to do. When I feel it's time to do it. You get what I mean? And it's a privilege, I could just be like, yo, you know what, today I want to go feed the hungry. I can take and do it. I don't have to call this guy, ask for permission, and then get a permit, and I don't have to do all of that.
But you still have expenses.
Absolutely.
How do you meet it?
We with the proceeds that we make from Minnie's World, or the proceeds that we make from wherever we can pull the money from. Sometimes we ask for donations, Sometimes we do like fundraisers, and we just try to get whatever we can.
Where did this come from?
What do you mean?
How did it start?
It started.
Whose idea?
I think it was Minnie the Clown's idea. Minnie the Clown. We was sitting there, I was actually sitting in the car, parked across the street. We were sitting in the car, parked across the street from the park, and we were talking about it. We was like, yo, we want to do, she said, I want to do I want to do a big event. And I was like, yo, we should do like a back to school event. We should give out, book, and And she was like, yeah, and we could do it right here in this park. And the park is huge, so we was dreaming real big. So I was like, yeah, we probably could fit maybe like 3,000, 4,000 people in the park. You know what I mean? But I was like, yeah, we could do it. So the first year, I think we had maybe 200 people show up. So the park looked real sketchy. But it was the fact that we did it. We did it on our own. Like, from everything from the entertainment, the DJs, the food, we just did everything. And it was a success to a degree, but then I saw our opportunity for growth. I saw things that we should have did better, things we could have did better, so then the next time around, the first year we had around 200 people, then the second year I think we had 700 people. And then from that point it's been around, 600, 700, almost 1,000 people.
That's a lot of children, people and children.
Yeah.
And how many years have this been going on?
We've done it for, I want to say, 5 years consecutively. Then we took a break, so we just didn't have the money.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't give you something I ain't got.
Seems like your plate is full.
It's safe to say that.
Always some room for something new.
Yeah, it is. You got to grow. That's the only way to grow.
Man. Stephen, this has been a pleasure hearing about your ventures, your advocacy and community activity, your films. And we didn't have even a chance to talk about your photography work, but maybe next time.
Yeah, we could do that.
I want to thank you for being on the show.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
And I want to thank you for watching. And I'll see you on the next second Saturday.